So we are all trying to figure out the impacts that artificial intelligence is going to have on the business community, on jobs, and frankly on the country. And you're seeing all of these studies and a lot of talking heads, to be quite honest, a lot of doom and gloom that I don't think is really helpful at this point. Um, and what we're doing here business wise is really trying to dig in and say, okay, what is going to be the impact for business? How do we compete? And what does that mean for our folks? And we're going to look at a study today from MIT that they say already that, hey, about 11% of the workforce can be replaced by uh, agentic AI, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit. And again, it can already take place. And here's the thing, folks. In my opinion, I think that number is a lot higher. And I think the data is going to bear that out. So, yeah, for those who know, my name is Ryan Howe. I'm a business coach, works out of West Michigan around the country. I come live on YouTube sharing information I share with my clients, and I hope to earn your subscription. So let's get into it here. Links to the articles we're talking about today are going to be in the description, so be sure to go check them out. So let's get into this here. It's from TechSpot. MIT study says agentic AI can already replace 11% of the workforce. I'll just tell you that number is low. Hey, just from my experience and just with the number of basically BS jobs that exist, many of these jobs can be replaced. We're in the early stages of getting these AI, these agents to be able to do their thing. Now, with that, we're going to look at the data, and that's really important. So let's look at this here. The $1 trillion question is AI technology actually going to disrupt the job market in the US? And I would say it is already. We can see it in the areas that are technologically driven and those areas that are touch points with people, data sheets. You can just see it all over where they are absolutely throwing AI at everything to see what's going to work. Now, while the jury's still out, new speculative exercises are trying to answer the most important question of our digitally entrapped society. That's a very, very wordy paragraph to say. Um, People are trying to figure this out. Now, teams from MIT and Oak Ridge National Laboratory, and again, Oak Ridge they manage the nuke, basically Department of Energy nuke stuff, nuclear power, etc., for the country. They have a lot of supercomputers, and that's why they're partnering with them. Now, they developed a novel way to simulate AI's potential impact on jobs. Effort produced Iceberg Index, which we're going to look at. I had my large language model. So I said, hey, AI, we're going to investigate you. Please create an infographic so we can understand what they're talking about with this iceberg. And again, researchers launched Project Iceberg earlier this year to simulate an AI powered workforce alongside more than 151 million human workers. Oh my goodness. That's a lot. Now, the sandbox exercise leverages the supercomputer they have there, the infrastructure, and insights into AI technologies. So let's take a look here what they're saying because we can read this, but man, pictures are better sometimes, aren't they? Now, this is what I did is I had my Claude is who I use from Anthropic, and I said, "Hey, make me an infographic to help me better understand and be able to communicate exactly what we're doing here." And that's what it pushed out for me here. So here's our key statistics. Right now, and this is they feel comfortable saying that 11.7% of the current workforce in the U.S. is replaceable by agentic AI, the way it's currently structured and the way that it's currently coded. That's pretty significant. Again, that's 1.2 trillion dollars in wages, and that's looking at 32,000 different skills mapped across the board here. And this is again just where they're seeing, and this is what they're talking about the iceberg effect. And if you've never looked at YouTube at those videos about the iceberg effect, I highly recommend you take a look at those where they explain like here's the surface level stuff, but this is actually where as you go down that is deeper and underwater, right? You can't see. Here's the hidden impact that goes on with these things. So, for instance, right now, the visible impact has been the tech layoffs. Um, Ladies and gentlemen, there's no denying that the tech world has been laying people off all. And again, we're going into the holiday season, and October had the highest number of layoffs in 30 years, if not more. I mean, however long they've been keeping track, it's been a very, very long time, and we're still continuing to see those happen now. So, tech has obviously been hit with that. But here's the hidden impact. This is where I was talking about, and when I say BS jobs, that's my nice way of saying these jobs that exist because we can't engineer our way out of them. Like they have to have a person in there moving a piece of paper from one spot to the other. Like we haven't engineered it out yet. And on the list here, HR. I think folks are seeing more and more HR functions are getting automated, and AI has been able to handle many, many more of these things here. So that's one thing just to keep in mind. Finance for sure, that's coming, that's been there. And then also logistics. So my master's degree is in logistics and supply chain management. I have a specialization in reverse logistics. That's how um that's my world, right? Where I live at. And logistics can and has been um a target for automation, for algorithms to try to figure these out. This has been standard procedure for a very long time in when it comes to our logistics. They want to do this, and you can expect this to be a target because logistics is a huge, huge amount of labor that goes into that to manage these systems. If we can engineer it out, they're going to. And lastly is admin. I mean, who here really thinks that you're talking to anybody when you are sending messages back and forth within customer service, when you are sending stuff up to, make sure things are getting stored and filed correctly or managed? This is all being done by chatbots, and more of this is just going to be automated where it just happens naturally. Okay. Um, to include where you have an AI agent that's partnered with you. I've done different videos on this where I see this happening. So I used to have a virtual assistant who helped me out. It was typically about 16 hours a week that I paid them for. That I was contracting with them. They handled that. And obviously there's an hourly charge with all of that. Yeah, I use Claude, and I wrote some code on the back end and completely and replaced their job from the admin side. What was costing me, upwards of $30 an hour, I now get everything done that they needed to do in what would take a couple days is now done in less than 7 minutes for the grand total of about 6 cents. All right, and that's what we're talking about with admin. The Those type of positions are going to be completely taken care of, and you can just see here. This is the actual impact, and when they're talking about this impact, these are the wages. $1.2 trillion in capital that's going to people that is they are planning on engineering out. And where is that money going to go? If it's not going into wages, that means people not employed. That means not going into the economy. These are the things that folks are looking at. And here's the most affected industries again that are there: finance and its entry level, healthcare administration, and the healthcare side. It costs us so much. We're going to engineer that out, but there's a lot of people who their job has literally been, I'm going to take this note and put it into the system, and that's it. And we pay them a lot of money to do that. We're going to engineer a lot of this stuff out. HR, right? I did HR for a while, and the vast majority of HR stuff should be automated. We should get people out of that, like just as a whole. Logistics, legal services. This is one I've seen impact. I have clients that are impacted by this. That again, why are we spending money on someone to review for legal purposes these particular contracts when I can have the initial review done and set up to get it created the exact way I wanted using my large language model, my AI, and then for the last bit, the very last tiny bit, I can send it over to the lawyer for that level of review. Okay. And then lastly is accounting and bookkeeping. Very, very, very clear on this. These are all things that should be engineered out, and they're going to be. But again, this impact's huge. $1.2 trillion in wages. That's what we're looking at. Now, AI generates over 1 billion lines of code, right? So it's already doing stuff there for entry level programmers. Companies are using silent layoffs. We've been seeing that. They lay people off and they do not refill those positions. They are engineering those positions out. Apprentice model and finance is threatened. There's apprentice models everywhere except for in the trades are getting gone. You're getting rid of entry level, which is going to cause, and we're working through that with my clients, but that's going to cause problems definitely in the future. Then AI can augment and replace depending on specific task and industry context. Okay, and that's the big piece here. So what's the big takeaway on this, folks? That's really what I get back to is when it comes to again for what I'm advising my clients. I think that's what I want. I think a better way to say this. What I'm advising my clients is the following: that there is opportunities to engineer most of the tasks out on the administration, the documentation side. That is a possibility. They can do that. The But we are doing it in a very, very methodical uh, way, shape. We're doing the plan is very methodical, and why we're doing it that way is very simple. We don't know for sure that the changes that we want to automate with artificial intelligence with these large language models is the best method. We know that there's opportunity to save some capital, but we do not want to get rid of people, again, lay people off or have them leave the company because they always have a lot of industry knowledge and there's enterprise level knowledge that is important and experience that we don't want to just get rid of, right? And give to a large language model. And that's the balance. We're trying to find, okay, how do we best leverage the people's experience, knowledge, and their judgment and protect that while eliminating all of the mundane tasks that was taking up their bandwidth, and how do we automate those? That's really the basically the balance that we're doing here, and that's what I'm advising my clients. That's what I advise almost everyone here. You have talent, and they are being bogged down by administrative and other tasks, menial tasks. Automate as much as that as you can to give them the freedom back to let their gray matter and what makes people awesome. Let's let people go do the people thing where they really generate their value, not spreadsheets. Okay. So yeah, that's where we're at, folks. Again, hopefully I earned your subscription today. If you want to learn more about how I help clients uh, grow their businesses and prepare them to be able to sell so they can extract the maximum amount of value, go and check out summitbusinessguides.com. You can see me there. There's a link there also for the Value Builder system. There's an assessment that you can take it takes about 15 minutes, and it will give you, when you're done with that, again, the current value for your business, as well as how you are performing in the 8 key areas within the Value Builder system that buyers look at when they're valuing your business for potential sale. All right. So with that, take care. Hopefully everybody had a good Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next time.